Okay, I am Ciree Loftus. I am the Director of Customer Solutions for TCS, which is for TATA Consultancy Services. My colleague here is Darren Mitchell, and he is the Platform Architect in the technology. So today, let's move it. Today we are going to talk about the technology, but more from the customer journey, how we got there, what we decided to do, where we're at, and how the technology is supporting us. Next. Okay, so my background, I spent a lot of time in SAP a long time ago, all over the world. I'm now working in the HANA S4 environment, helping people achieve their business dreams on the newer technologies. Darren, you want to tell?
Yeah, I've been working there with SAP also for a long time, working with HANA since 2012 as well.
Okay, so let's talk about the customer. So basically, the customer we're going to define is an international express mail delivery and logistics service company. They were founded in 1982. They're in the Middle East, in Dubai, although they have offices in 49 countries. Current revenues are over 1 billion USD. Originally, their entire legacy system was built in-house. Basically a Microsoft shop, siloed, internal IT has done all of this. And it's a combination. They've acquired other companies that had software, so it's a mishmash of a variety of things. So, and the ERP concept, being non-siloed and integrated, does not exist in their thinking at this point. That this is a foreign concept to them. Let's go. So, these were the reasons that they decided to move from their legacy in-house systems to where they are today. First of all, we have external drivers. The industry, digitalization, okay? The market pressures on their competitors, on the cost, various other service offerings that they need to do in the newer technologies, and the statutory and legal requirements. Again, they're based in the Middle East, but they have everybody's statutory requirements. And currently in the Middle East, we have VAT coming in for the first time into non-VAT countries. On the GCC countries, we have GST in India, and the variety of different changes that we have across the globe. Operationally, they needed to optimize their resource utilization. For instance, and let me give you an example. Currently, they have 70 accountants in one station to handle all the accounting. This is not a sustainable way. As they grow, they can't keep adding people. They need to do things more automated and more efficient. They need a single source of the truth. One of the CFO said to me, he said, once this comes in, we will change the way we speak to one another. Because currently, everybody has sort of a different database, because again, what they have are different databases, and it's difficult for them to communicate from one point of view. They want to increase their profitability. Obviously cut your costs. One of their main costs is labor. That helps. And they want to be able to make better decisions by using the big data analytics, which again, SAP S4 has offered them. Then we had some system drivers. First of all, they want to empower their business users. They don't want their business users, every time somebody asks a question from senior management, to say, let me call IT to pull the data. They want the business users to stand up and take accountability. They want less dependency on their IT organization. They don't want to feel like a hostage. They want more scalable solutions. They are not scalable today with what they have. They need the integration. They want a shortened time frame to get their business requirements. Right now, if they ask for a report, it's 2 months, 3 months. By then, the market has moved. And they need a platform to support different operational models as they move in to the newer technologies. So here's the key reasons for S4. The market leader in the ERP space. End-to-end solutions were available. It was scalable. We have the latest technologies available, although that's a plus and a minus. They keep coming out, so we're constantly evolving. They wanted to integrate operations and finance. They want to centralize. One of their key drivers is a shared service model, which is a centralization of some key business processes. And that's why they have a shared service framework tools. They want the user experience. They want the fiore. They want the look and feel. In Dubai, it's a very young crowd, okay? Their personnel are young. In that region, it's young. They need to know, they're on Facebook. They're using the web. They're using social media. They need that look and feel. And they want the digital dashboards for the execs. So this is what was implemented on S4 currently, and it is not the complete S4. When you have an organization that goes from no ERP to ERP, you have to select carefully how you implement it to get the buy-in for the people and to get them ready. So in the financial management, we have the ARAP, the month-end, banks, taxes. We have COPA in the activity-based and the fixed assets. Procurement, again, they have a very small procurement area normally because, they deliver things. They're a service. Is the REC, we have a lot of contracts, so supplier management's important. Internal orders, procure to pay. As far as HR and payroll, they really didn't have an HR system. They had a piecemeal. So we have put in full HR, which is employee self-service, the payroll, recruitment, performance management, compensation, and benefits. So HR is probably more of that functionality than the rest of the ERP as we step through this. So here's where we started. We started basically in January 2016 to launch the program. In December of 2016, SuccessFactors, which is the HR that we use without payroll, came in for Dubai and Abu Dhabi. In January, we went live with the S4 functionality in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Still no payroll, okay? In February, more of the SuccessFactors went into the GCC countries. March, we pulled out more of the SuccessFactors for the corporation. April, we went live in a bigger chunk, which is our regional companies, as well as our main centralized setup in Jordan. In April. In May, we brought the rest of the SuccessFactors in, and we will be moving into payroll for these companies now, which is in the HCM. And in August, we bring up Saudi Arabia. For thereon, which obviously isn't showing, so between January and October, at a quarterly rate, we are rolling out the rest of the Middle East, Asia, Europe, North America, India, Australia, and New Zealand. And we're doing 12 to 16 countries at a time as we're doing this. So what did we learn? And we learned a lot, guys. Hey, OCM, do not underestimate that. That has plagued us. Everybody feels that that's a non-important thing. It has hurt us. We have to spend more time in there. Early SAP training of the project team. When you have people who have nothing on ERP, you've got to train that original project team. UAT and end user training took a lot more personal help than normally. Again, it has to do with the sophistication and the readiness of your people. Data migration required multiple iterations because what they thought were the business rules turned out not to be the business rules, or only part of the business rules, because nobody's looked at this for 30 years. Limit the number of rollouts, okay? We have 10 now. We originally were going to have 4. There's no way. There is no way we could do that many countries with no experience, okay, within a rollout. And simplifying the functionality implemented in the initial rollouts does not always simplify the project or effort. We decided, with a lot of help, to just bring in the billing engine without the sales, to simplify and get this up sooner. That was not necessarily simplified. In fact, it has complicated the project. I have 6 different interfaces, undocumented on the legacy side, The person who wrote that, is dead, retired, long gone. It has gone through multiple iterations, and I'm in an environment where these people make their changes directly in production and do not understand why that may not be a good idea in SAP. So you have all of this playing into this. So this does not mean it simplified the effort. I think that's all I have. It's your...
So the reasons why they looked to implement SAP is they were running on this Microsoft platform for over the 30 years they developed this. What they were started looking at was some of the locations to put this SAP system on. They were looking at on-premise. When they started looking at that, they realized that their data center was older and out of date, and the system mechanisms were out of date. And then some of the systems they were looking at were only available on the cloud. They looked at public hosting, but that was also rolled out because their data is very sensitive to them, and they didn't feel that was very secured from their area. They ended up going with a private hosting area, and they were able to update their infrastructure without a huge capital layout, and they were able to do these rollouts and extend the rollouts for certain time frames and not add all their resources at one time. Then they were looking at how do they want to implement this into their hardware, and they were looking at physical or virtual setup, and they realized the physical setup was going to be very expensive for them. So they went with virtualization, which allowed them to have redundancy without fully duplicating their physical hardware. They were able to set up VMware across their environment. This allowed them to have flexibility to roll out these new systems as they rolled out their environments. They also were able to use vMotion for their maintenance, and they'd fail over to DevQS if they were needed. SUSE was selected as the default OS. It was actually the default OS for anything that SAP runs on, and that's Linux-based. Some of the systems obviously still have to run on Windows. They looked at that because of the cost and capabilities of SUSE, and that they were the HANA leader with SAP. This was just some of the products that they went through, and we talked a little bit about those. This is what some of the high-level products that they've implemented so far, and they're looking to implement more and more.
Okay, this is mine. So as we got into the project, conversion was very important. We did spend the time and redo our chart of accounts. They had many accounts, and we wanted to bring them down to a more reasonable level and make it global across all the countries. Vendor master, they had no procurement. Everybody kind of did their own thing, so now we have brought in the vendor master, and SAP is the master for that. The customer data, because we only brought in the billing, and their customer, again, was homegrown and is incorporated into their sales and prospects, I couldn't just take the master out. They are still the master, so we have some limited functionality, and I will discuss that in a moment. Material master, again, they're a service company. My material is company material, such as brochures. We have done that, globalized that, to help with our procurement and costs. And employee IDs remain the same now that we've gone into success factors. The interfaces, and we have lots of interfaces. We used a combination of BODs and POPI because I've got interfaces to billing, I've got interfaces to finance, I got integration between success factors and HCM. Every time I turn around, there's a new interface, and it has to do with the operational systems from legacy. They've used Dell Boomi as the middleware for the replication on success factors and the HCM for payroll functions. All right, so here's where it gets interesting. So we are in 1503. We are going to be going into 1610. We have to. In 1610, we expect that in November. We are still doing rollouts as well on 1503. We are migrating to 1610, and we're going to be together before December because I have to have whatever it is I'm doing on 1610 because I have VAT for GCC countries coming in January 2018, and we have to meet that. Therefore, I need one system to do that, and it's a big deal for us. The migration is a technical upgrade only, but be going from 1503 to 1610 It's not like any technical migration, if you guys have ever done one, you've ever seen, because I have to redesign major functions. First of all, business partners are a must. The master data transactions no longer exist, so I have no choice. And what that means to us is that my customer master now has to be in SAP. So I have that whole, ERP, their legacy with their sales and all the prospects and everything that did, and figure out how to do this. This is a big deal for us. Fiori apps. We decided we would Fioritize everything. We have, our user experience has been on the Fiori Launchpad. We have had some issues between the business client and the Fiori Launchpad, which will, having two not cohesive technology has caused us some performance issues for our end users. So they don't want to use it, obviously. So we are going to Fioritize to get on one platform, and that will help us. We're going to integrate BPC for planning and consolidation. And we have financial changes that are going to happen on the transaction tables, the transactions and the table. These are things we have to do, which will cause potentially redesign in what we're rolling out, which again is part of the timing and why we're driven to do it sooner than later. I want to do it before I have all the countries on it. It's a bigger deal. It's a parallel track, and we will merge it together. But the thing to really remember here is, remember when I showed you our key decisions, one of the biggest things we needed is shared service. That's how they made their business case to their board of directors. It isn't until 1709 that the shared service framework is incorporated in S4 HANA. Therefore, as soon as we finish this, we will start another migration. We have no choice. We have to be on 1709. And I am praying that I can stay on 1709 longer than 6 months, guys, okay? This was a difficult sell, except the shared services was there that they desperately need. And machine learning, there's a few other things, but I can't wait, because if I wait, I have too many countries on. So I'm hoping that the next release from SAP isn't something that everybody is required to take right away, that we can actually stabilize. Is there anything else that I have?
I think that was it.
Okay, so do you guys, I've talked a lot. Do you guys have any questions?
Is this implementation or?
This was a greenfield implementation because their legacy was, and we started it back where 1503 was the latest, was all homegrown, okay? All, written in whatever, multiples of things. Okay, so understand there are 3 different ways, in the S4 world, depending upon what release. You got the classical approach that we all know and love, okay? You've got what they call the embedded approach, which until 1610 did not include consolidations, but it did include planning. And then in 1610, then you have the integrated approach. Now, how you decide this. So yes, we have right now in 1503, we have done everything classical. We haven't even touched consolidation because it doesn't make sense for us until we have everybody on. We have a different solution we're staying with. As we move to 1610, we're probably going to use integrated, even though it isn't on a separate box, and and we're going to redesign BWBI, which we're doing some reporting. We're going to bring that in and have the platform ready for consolidation. So when you said you're implementing BW for HANA, what release are you on? You can. Yeah, well, it embeds it. Again, right now in the classical, we have this, we replicate, we have this, okay? Now, as we get to S4 HANA, it takes this and makes this, okay, and integrates them. So yes, you do have it, but what you need to think about is that what you want? First of all, classical for certain organizations, they're going to probably remain that way. Embedded, I still have a separate box, but my queries go out and pull it from the S4 database. Some corporations, that makes sense. And the integrated means I don't have a separate box, I'm all in one, okay? Now, My perspective was, do I really want to integrate it at my risk level? But I looked at it for this particular organization, and integrated is the way we're going to go, because for their business drivers, that makes sense. So that's what you have to do. So yes, you have to get on S4 and
Sorry,
do
we
that.
have got another presentation
Right,
in 3
sorry,
minutes.
guys.
So let's take this offline. You'll be around
Yes.
if you have any other questions.